We're here at Mika Boorem, and you are live on audio tonight.
Fantastic. It's so
Yeah,
nice to connect. Thanks for having me on.
absolutely. So we're doing this retro thing, and we had your film at another festival that I ran a while back. So we are going to screen or screening for the past 10 years. We had a lot of videos, and I had asked you if you wanted to screen the Love Thy Neighbor. So we're going to be doing that tomorrow night.
Fantastic. I am super honored and excited that you're including Love Thy Neighbor. It's one of my favorite projects that I've ever made. It was just so much fun and a really dear and special piece to me. So I love that it's a part of this festival with you. Thank you.
Yeah. And how did you come about this project?
Oh my gosh. So this was one of the earlier shorts that I had put together,
Mhm.
and I was trying to conceptualize something that had a sort of open ending, interpretive. The goal for it was to make a piece that sort of raised questions and let people start a conversation afterward, and to do that in a way that felt authentic and and didn't feel like it was like there weren't any payoffs, but that there were like strong questions raised. And so that was sort of the beginning seed of what I wanted to do. And then from there it just kind of kept developing. And I was able to pull some really interesting, wonderful collaborators. And so I would say that they influenced the piece a lot as well. Like June Park, who did our cinematography, she had been the first AC on House for about 8 years. And so she did the DP work. She was the director of photography on this. And so, like, working with her was really fantastic. And it was so much fun because at this time, House was ending. And so they were very happy to load up a huge truck full of equipment from Fox. So we went over there, and June was able to pick out all these different pieces, and everyone
Oh,
was so
wow.
supportive of her. And I had known the cinematographer who was on House, Gail Tattersall. He's a friend, and I had done an episode of House too,
Yeah.
um, where I had SEPA. I could not feel pain, and
Oh,
so yeah, so I sort of, was tied into that group, and that's actually how I originally found June, was from Gail, and so it was just like it was fun, like things like that kind of came together where we're like, okay, let's paint this as really interesting cinematography to match this story with raising the
yeah.
questions, and yeah, and then it just kind of kept snowballing.
How did you get how did you the actors, so your casting process, how did that work from being an actor for all those years and now being on the other side?
Yeah, so that was fun. That was really fun. So the lead in it is Slade Pierce,
Mhm.
and Slade has done quite a few projects. Like he was in Yours, Mine, and Ours,
Oh,
and he was in Airbud, and he was in quite a few things. And so I was looking to cast an actor that had a lot of experience, and so what was really fun for me was I started exploring through different people I'd worked with and also through acting coaches. So there's an acting coach that I love who used to coach me when I was young, John Homa. And I worked with other ones as well, but he was someone that I really admired. And so Slade had come through his classes, and he was like, I can't recommend him enough. Like this kid is very interesting. And so that was how Slade came on board, and he was so much fun. And then Jacqueline Pierce, who plays the lead actress, I actually um, I actually auditioned her, and that was great. She did a wonderful
mhm.
job, and she brings kind of this interesting, mysterious element to the character that I feel like she naturally sort of has a little bit of a bit of like an elegant mystery to her. And then for the man who plays her husband, that was harder to cast because we were physically looking for something specific, and I couldn't find anyone. And I actually one of our producers was out at dinner, and he met this gentleman who was working at this restaurant, and he was like, "I think I found the guy. You've got to meet him." And so I was like, "Okay." And so I met Brandon Jones, the actor we used, and Brandon is about 6'5", and he's got this very low voice and very specific. And like I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is, physically what we were looking for to sort of match into the elements of the story." And so it kind of all came together that way. And then I had a family friend who had the dog. We were lucky enough to snag the dog, so that that worked out well. And he's a really good actor, I have to say. I like the dog, and we put him in my Amazon feature, Hollywood.com.
Oh
He
yeah.
has a cameo. Yeah, he has a cameo in that as well. And I think I've got to put him in the next piece. He's, a little good luck charm junior. He's a little Jack Russell Chihuahua mix, Jack
Oh wow.
Cheese.
I remember that from your movie. I think.
Yeah.
From the both of them actually. Yeah, from the Hollywood Icon. I remember that he's in the dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Um,
mean, people love dogs.
too. I got one right behind me here. Yeah,
Oh, cute.
yeah. But yeah, I've been dog watching for the last few days. So.
That's fun. Yeah, they're gentle little creatures. They bring so much to the table. Well, most of the time gentle, right? Now that we've domesticated them.
So in the short film, you got it's like in a neighborhood. What kind of how did you come about finding where to film that? Um, is that a neighborhood you know of, or
Yeah,
mm,
yeah. Oh, you know who else is in the film who's so fun? There's an older gentleman who has now passed away, Harold Berger, and he does a great job in the film. And it was such a pleasure to have him on board, and he just like aesthetically has such a cool, interesting look. And so we had him on there too. He was great. But yeah, so it's in a neighborhood that I know well, and I have family there. And so that was the thing, is there were these two properties next to each other. And I like to, especially for short films, I like to write to available resources, and I
of
think that
course,
that's a good way to get things made. I know sometimes in film school there, people, and I understand that exercise as well, but they say, just imagine anything, don't put any limits on yourself. But for practicality, it's like sometimes good just to be like, okay, this is what I have, and this will work. And so I knew I had access to two houses next door to each other,
yeah.
and so that storyline would fit within that, and I could definitely get it done in a contained space, and pull it off. And I knew that also we could, have our space for the crew and for all the equipment and everything right there, because it would be contained and we didn't have to change a lot of locations.
How many days of production was on that? Couple days.
Ooh, I don't remember, to be honest. I don't remember. I we did like a lot of designing of the shots, and
Mhm.
we had a lot of conversations about that. And because that was a really fun process with June, because with the cinematographer June Park, because she's so artistic. And so there was a lot of time spent sort of looking at that and lighting and playing with the lighting. And then we did some interesting color correction as well. So pre and post, I would say, is the most time that was spent. For the actual production, I think it was pretty short.
No.
um I want to say like 4 days, but maybe I don't know.
And then you had some music too.
Yes. Yes, yes. We had great music on it. It was so
Mm,
much fun.
yeah.
So for the music, we had David O'Bale. We had a lot of original score, and he did such a great job with that. And then there's a very dear friend of mine, Amalia, who came on board, and she is such a talent. She was on the French version of The Voice, and she came through and she made this song that fits at the end of the film as an original song, "Loving
Mhm.
You," and she performed it and matched it, and it was just so fantastic and awesome. It
Or
was
how
really
many?
cool. And I believe we had Pascal Mazier on the Foley for this as well.
Hmm,
And that was fun because he does everything by hand. He doesn't use any
hmm,
pre-recorded noises, and that's like a very specific thing. And we used him on Hollywood.com as well. And it's sort of this like wonderfully special thing where he has these techniques and things that he does, and he's now training his daughter and he's passing on
no.
them down, but they're like secrets. So like when we did Hollywood.com, he came out to LA and he was working in a fully post-production sound studio, which fully is all the practical noises. For anyone that doesn't know, it's when you close the door or when you sit down or brush your hair, like all those noises have to be recreated. So a lot of people will use pre-recorded pieces that are just within the computers, but Pascal will has like little shoes and like special jackets and like little feathers,
Yeah.
and yeah, he has all these odd trinkets that he has
It's like
used
the
to
old
make it.
radio days.
Yeah, exactly. And so he did it on Hollywood.com as well. And when he came out for the studio, but for Love Thy Neighbor, he did it um, remotely. He did that in France. But when he did come out, it was funny because the people in the American studio wanted to see how he was making the noises because
Mhm.
the where the recording mechanics and the engineer who's operating those is in a separate room that's divided by glass than in the area where they're actually doing all of the Foley work and like stomping around and all that stuff. And so our friend who was the engineer, she kept trying to run around and see what he was doing because she wanted to know what tools he was using. And then he would hurry up and he'd hide them. And he was like, and then she'd ask me, she's like, what did he have over there? She'd be like, did he have like film or like what was he doing? I'd be like, I don't know. I can't get involved. And he's like, I don't want to share my secrets. So it was interesting. But yeah, so he came on board and he did the Foley for us on that too. And so there's just like a lot of little special art pieces with everyone sort of putting their touch on it for Love Thy Neighbor. So it's when I look at it, I'm proud of it, and I
Yeah.
hope everybody else is too.
No, I'm excited for people to see it on that probably haven't seen it before on Saturday on tomorrow, tomorrow or tomorrow night already. But yeah, so it would be really cool to show that again. I remember showing that for the first time many years. How many years ago was that made now?
I
Mm,
don't know.
a while, right?
Yeah, it's been a while. I'm not sure exactly how long, but it's definitely been a moment.
Was that your first directorial debut, or did you do things before that?
I did some experimental work before, but that was the first sort of larger piece that I had done through and through, and that had the narrative to it.
And then you went on and you did Hollywood.com. If you want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, Hollywood.com. So it's a comedic feature. It's on Amazon. Tom Arnold's in it, and it's just a really fun slapstick adventure piece that takes place in Mexico and Guatemala and California, Texas, Arizona, and sort of this travel piece. And it's a production company is in a race to make the next big Mayan film, and everyone is trying to sell everyone out and be con artists, and it's got this eclectic, kooky gang of characters who are all trying to succeed in the Hollywood show business thing. So, and I wrote on that one too. So that was a fun piece.
Yeah, and so but you direct. How was directing it and being in it at the same time?
You know what? It was funny because when it became more simple, but the first time that I went to film the scene, I was like, oh my gosh, because I feel like the director is generally your safety net, and you sort of have an idea and structure of what you're going to do and play off the other actor, but then you sort of look to them to making sure that it's falling in line with their vision and kind of, connecting and making sense to the overall story. And so I like remember looking back and I was like, okay, so did that work? And I was like, oh, it's me. It's me. I have to know if that works. And for sake of time, because I've worked with other directors in the past, when they've been acting as well, and a lot of times they'll do playback, which makes sense on a larger film to watch the scenes back and kind of analyze it. But for being on an independent feature, I decided not to do that because I just figured it would take up too much time to watch back the scene each time. And then I also was like, well, if I'm watching it back each time, other people probably want to see theirs back each time. And like I'm just, eating up more time. So I went ahead and kind of broke it down to what needed to be accomplished in the scene to move the story forward. And so I did a lot of script breakdown in that, and then I kind of brought that over to the other actors to rely on them and check in with them to make sure that those beats were being made or to rely on the cinematographer. So, but yeah, it was it was the first time I did. I was like, whoa, what did I get into here? Writing, directing, producing, and acting in this? Whose idea was this? This was not the original plan.
But you did it all. It's great.
Yeah, yeah, it was fun. It was definitely experience and an adventure and very collaborative. Very, very collaborative. And it was fun. I was able to pull a lot of cast that I had worked with on other
Mhm.
projects throughout the years, because I started acting when I was 7. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of different projects throughout the years of meeting different actors. So it was fun to include everyone.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. And then you went on and you did some you also did some music videos, correct?
Yeah, yeah, we've got some fun music videos that are out there. We did one with Travis Tidwell that's on CMT. One with Austin Sands. That's a fun pop um, pop rock music, and yes, I've been doing a lot of that as well, and some different commercial work, and it's been fun. It's been a good journey.
And do you still want to go and act in front of the camera? You still enjoy doing that, or do you kind of prefer now directing?
I like everything.
Mm.
Primarily, I've been developing and directing and producing.
Yeah.
And so the next project that I'm doing is going to be a horror film down in the Yucatan. And so for that, I won't be acting in it, but I enjoy it all. I think it's really fun to have a place, in front of the camera and behind the camera. And I think that progressing behind the camera is sort of like a natural trajectory, because I feel like as I keep growing, I'm like, okay, how do you learn, about this angle and this aspect, and and now I've been involved with projects all the way from the conception into distribution. And so it's been really interesting to explore and learn about those paths. And I like that. I like to just keep kind of growing and absorbing.
One thing I tell my film students all the time, I'm like, I love learning. I'm learning every day. I've been in this business most of my life, but I love it because you're always learning new things constantly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's a fun way too to pick projects also, is
Mhm.
like apart from, learning about the writing, the distribution, the formats and all of that, it's also fun to like I love with film that you can learn about a specific time in history, or about a specific person's life, or you just kind of get to dive in and research these specific niche things that you wouldn't necessarily ever spend that much time with, and you get to somewhat learn to be an expert or at least see things from, a certain perspective that you may not have. So I love that. I think that that's what makes it a really fun medium.
when I was a lot younger, I used to teach history for to middle school. I couldn't show the whole movie, only clips because it was R-rated, but I did show them parts of The Patriot back in the day.
Oh, that's awesome. That's
Long
awesome.
time ago. Yeah, I remember showing them like, I can only show little scenes here and there because it, rated R for middle school kids in history class.
Yeah. They
But
worked really hard with that film to do a lot of things historically accurate, like a lot of the
mm,
sets and a lot of things with the wardrobe. The costume designer on that, she won an Oscar, and she, was really, really committed to trying to do things as historically authentic as possible. I was like, wow, it's very cool.
yeah.
it's a it's a big mountain to climb, but very cool.
I was like the like historic pieces. I was like, that's one thing I got to work on, like a historic movie.
Yeah. Yeah,
Have you
absolutely.
done more? Have you done more of them? Like kind of like history
Uh,
films
Yeah,
back in the
yeah, I've done some other ones. Hearts Atlantis, I forget
yeah, Hearts
what year
Atlantis.
that was. Yeah, and there's been some others as well. Havana Nights, Dirty Dancing,
Yeah.
that was historic. I think that was like in the 50s.
Mhm.
And what else? There's been some more in there. I have a project that I've been developing
Yeah.
and to direct and produce that's a historic piece about a boy in the 1920s. And
Mm,
it's interesting because to do a historic piece, it takes a lot more financing because you have to, recreate
yeah,
everything.
locations. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, the locations, the wardrobe, hair and makeup are much more specific. It's one of the projects that I really look forward to doing down the road. Because you want to make sure you do it right too, so that it's not so that it's seamless and it doesn't, if there's something off, it could draw you out of the story.
Yeah, I remember like a long time ago there was a show, The Boardwalk Empire, that they filmed around here, and I did a lot of cop extra work back in the day on that, and I got to dress up in the old cop outfits.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
It was just fun, but just it's so cool how they made it look so like I mean they're filming today and they're making it look so 19 what is it 1920s something like that
Yeah,
Atlantic
yeah, the
City.
Prohibition era. Yeah, I loved that show. I
Yeah.
loved that show. That was fantastic.
Every
Great
once in a
acting.
while, yeah, every once in a while you see me in the background as a police officer.
Epic. I dig it.
Back in the day, I think it was all like the Chicago. I think when they went to Chicago a lot, I was they would pretend. I mean, they filmed in New York, but I was like, "You're a Chicago cop." I'm like, "Oh, "Okay," all right." But it was a lot of fun doing it. So like I was on quite a bit. I'm like, "I'll keep doing it." I had so much fun.
That is
But
fun. So you had all the historic outfits.
I did all those like old cop outfits and stuff. They always could put me on either. It was either an Irish thug or a cop.
There you go. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
No
So
complaints, right? Those are pretty
no,
cool roles.
I had a good time. So a long time ago already. Oh my gosh, but but it was really cool those historic playing and dressing up in those old outfits and everything. It was a lot of fun.
Oh my gosh, that show's
Mm,
iconic.
yeah, yeah. So it was really cool that they filmed right here, right where we're from here, and got to be a part of that. So it was really cool. But yeah, so it was great talking to you for a few minutes about the films and everything, and your short film that we're going to be screening. But also, we want I don't have it in front of me right now, but we want to honor you with a little award, the little filmmaker award. So we got that as well. So we're going to present one for one director. Angie Hansen. She's a director from New York, New Jersey. She's been at the festival many times, so we're giving her the director award, and then we got an overall filmmaker award for you for the acting and producing and directing and all
Oh my gosh, that is really wow. Thank you so much. That is so
that.
cool. I really appreciate it, and I'm super excited, and it's really wonderful of you to give, platforms to filmmakers and to help spread the word about the art and curate cool pieces and like I'm super honored. That's exciting. Thank
Yeah,
you.
Yeah, so it's gonna be that's a fun day. It is a bar. It's a
Yeah,
bar, and we have two
great.
rooms of films, and everyone has a blast. It's been going on for 10 years, and it's right across the water from New York City. So we got a lot of New York actors and filmmakers that just easily come through. That they take the path to drive over. So it's always like a crazy party, and that's kind of why I
Nice.
keep doing it. So but I'm really looking forward to tomorrow because it's filmmakers of the past 10 years. So a lot of these people had their first shorts many years ago and they're coming back and they've been in the industry now and doing well. So um, it'll be exciting to see all of them again.
That's super cool. I love it. That's
Yeah.
so great. And you're building out community, which is so important.
Yeah. Yeah. I love doing it. And also we show high school student films in the morning and then college student films. And then now we're going to have the reunion that night and then all day Sundays, all the new submissions. So
Very
it's
cool.
it's a lot of fun. So, but yeah, thanks for giving me a few minutes here, and I will, pass this on. I'll put this up there online, and then that night we'll do a little intro and show your short film.
Awesome. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, cool. Well, you'll have to let me know how it all goes. I'm
absolutely.
excited to hear how everything comes together, and I know it's going to go great, and I wish I was there. My schedule right now is
Yeah,
so crazy, but gosh, yeah, I was like when this first came up, I was like, "Oh my gosh, like I got to be there. I got to be there." And so unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it out, but I'll be at the next one.
yeah,
I'll make it
absolutely.
out to the next one.
All
Yeah,
right.
I think it's very cool what you're doing, and yeah, I'll be at the next one. I hope that you guys have a good time and have a drink for me.